Hello, Las Vegas, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Golf at the Park, Angel Park Golf Club's weekly interview show. Thank you so much for subscribing, liking, and commenting on these videos. We're giving away goodies for the best comments. I'll be in touch with you, and then we get you out here, and we get you some buckets of balls and some rounds on Cloud 9, and it's a lot of fun. This week's guest is Chris Torres. You may know him as the Chris Torres. Chris, thank you for coming on,
Jack,
man.
thank you for having me, man.
We're going to have a good time today. Chris has been on my radar for over a year now. His son, he came out and did a content piece with his son on the range, and I reached out right away, and I said, you're the type of guy I want to meet, and You have done so much. It's interesting. We're going to get to all of this.
Okay.
But you're a golf ambassador and a golf advocate. You've been in multiple clubs. You've created a chapter of the Tropicana Golf Club and Barber Shop with Kevin Nahani in Las Vegas.
Yep.
You play all over town. And you've even introduced at least one or two people to the game that I know of. And so you've kind of done it all. I don't know for how long you've been in it. We're going to get into that.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Why don't we start at the beginning, though? This is the Chris Torres story.
Oh,
so
man.
Let's just start at how you got introduced to golf. And if it wasn't that early, maybe you were athletic in other ways. But when was the first time you learned about the game?
Oh, man. Okay, so growing up, okay, man, this is a good one. So going back, the first time I actually got introduced to golf was the Wonder Years. Remember that show?
Sure, I remember that show.
All right, so
Fred Savage?
Yep, Fred Savage. So there was an episode where Kevin Arnold, right, the character he played, he needed some money, right? And he was in school, and then one of the kids in school was like real flashy, good-looking kid, had all the money. He said, yo, Kevin, do you want to make some money like I'm making? I caddy. So I saw that episode, and he was caddying, making like $20 a week, whatever it was, right? So from that point, I'm like, oh, caddies can make some money. At the time I was living here in Vegas, this was probably 97, 98.
So we're talking 25 years.
We're talking a long time ago. I needed some money myself, right? So what I did is there was a golf course that was up there on Craig Road. I forget the name of it.
It could have been Los Prados.
No. It was God, I forget the name. Whatever. I went and asked them if they were looking to hire a caddy. They're like, we don't have caddies. I'm like, they had golf carts at this point. So I kind of felt silly, and I just walked away. That was the first time ever, right? Fast forward to 2008. Yeah, 2008, 2007, 2008. I was working construction. My boss did construction sales, and that's where I really got introduced. So he wanted me to go out with him with some clients. Long story short, I didn't want to do it, right? I'm like,
but your boss was already working golf into networking
100%.
and advertising, which again we're going to get to that too. You've been great at that.
Yeah.
So that is how it started. It was your boss saying,
it was my
this
boss.
is where we do
Yep.
business.
This is how you do stuff. This shout out Rich Kish. So he took me under his wing, showed me the sport, and I fell in love instantly, right? He had his putting green in his office, and I would sit there and putt around. That's why I putt right. I play left, but I putt right because I was with him for years just putting before I even got on the course.
So you play golf left-handed, but you putt right-handed.
Yep.
That's cool.
It's weird, but it works. So he took me out, fell in love with it. As far as that aspect, that was 08, 09. So for that time, from that time on, I did a lot of scrambles, right? A lot of tournaments for corporate stuff. So I didn't really get competitive. Up until about 5 years ago.
But scrambles are a great way to start because you only use your best shots every day.
Right.
And so that's kind of fun. That's probably a good way to ease into it, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah. So it was hooked. I was hooked, and from that point on, I didn't look back. And everything I did had to revolve around golf. Literally everything. So
what happened in those 5 years that made you that bit you?
Business. Right, relationships.
You started noticing that you were making friends,
yep.
doing deals,
and having fun, right? And then cigars, right? That's one thing I got introduced was cigars. I'm like, man, these are really good, right? So, got introduced to that. From that point on, I just got hooked. My first set was Callaway X Hots. That was the official first set I actually bought. Actually, my wife bought them for me, but. Before that, I had like Big Five Sporting Good clubs, right? The ones that you'd get that were like Alien or whatever the brand was. But got into that, and here we are today. I'm 39, loving life. I have my two boys. My oldest son, Mateo, the one that you've met. Bring him out here. He's hooked on it too. So I'm just trying to keep it going. And as far as my love of the game, it's increasing every day.
So 5 years ago, you start taking it seriously, and I'm guessing working in a practice regimen.
I'm probably one of the worst golfers you play with, but I'm a lot of fun. So
I can vouch for that.
yeah, so it's something that I love. I try to get out there as much as I can, and I still do it to this day, right?
So no lessons?
I got lessons in 2014. Scott Martinez at Goose Creek Golf Club in where's it at? Mariloma, California. So yeah.
Started teaching the game. And then you get back to Vegas, and I know that you've met a lot of friends. And 5 years ago is where the golf boom hadn't quite happened yet, because we get to the pandemic a little later. So you're actually bit before that. How often are you playing? Who are you playing with? Because you start to work in a lot more recreational rounds.
As far as today or in 5 years ago?
5 years ago.
5 years ago, it was pretty much solo golf, right? I'd get out as much as I can with friends. Living in Southern California, it was a little difficult to meet people. I had people that lived in San Diego. I lived in Ontario, but, friends in Riverside, friends in Orange County. So it was difficult to get people together, right? Especially the traffic. So I did a lot of solo golf. It was fun. I was able to hone in my game, but I never joined a club. And I didn't have a group of golf friends except for work, right? So all I knew as far as golf was, the corporate, take clients out, show them a good time, have fun, let them, hey, give them that putt, right? That kind of stuff.
So when you're getting into the game, you're going out to the golf course by yourself.
Correct. Yeah.
And you got a lesson or two, or you started learning some tips. How, you said you're not a great golfer, but you're a lot of fun. How do you progress to where you go from, let's say, well over 100 to start working your way down?
Well, I mean, just consistency, right? I've accepted that I will probably never break 80, right? So, and I'm good with that, At
That's
the end of the
cool.
day, at the end of the day, just have fun. Go out there, have fun, meet people, and
Chasing numbers is interesting. We've talked about it a lot on this show, and some people do and some people don't. And I think those who are comfortable with just being as good as you are, you probably get to enjoy the game a little bit, or all that much more.
100%. You'll enjoy it more if you just accept what you got, right? So just play with what you have. You can always get better, but just have fun.
So how do you get to Vegas?
Oh, that's the old tale of a lady, right? So
it's always a girl.
It's always a girl. So with me, I was living out there in California. I actually came to school out here for a little bit, but I was out there. I was working construction. I was doing sales, and I connected with my now wife via MySpace. Remember those days?
Wow.
MySpace.
That's fun.
Shout out MySpace.
Dating ourselves a little bit, but I absolutely remember MySpace.
We connected on there. We became best friends, and one day we just decided to, hey, let's take this a step further. And I wanted to take the jump. I wanted to move out here, but I couldn't find a job. So she took it upon herself to find her job, and she moved out there to be with me. So she moved out there in 2014, 2015, and we just actually moved back here in July of 2020. So.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
So you've only been here since right after the pandemic.
Yeah, we actually bought the house during COVID. It's crazy. So we bought our house during COVID, packed up and said, let's go. We got a family. Let's find a better place. And here we are in Las Vegas.
Are you playing a lot more golf then, because it was one of the only things to do?
Out here?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, during the pandemic.
During the pandemic, I did play a lot more golf. It got crowded, though. It got crazy crowded. So it was like, what the hell just happened, right?
Right.
Where are all my local people that I've seen? Now it's just random folks coming up, right? But I mean, it's a good thing, right? So
yeah. When do you start meeting people? Because I believe Random Golf Club, you're involved with so many different guys and have met so many different guys outside of work. When we'll get to work in a second, but does social media bring you to meeting some of these golf friends?
Absolutely. Oh yeah, no, it's huge. So I think it was late 2020. I forget what month it was. I was on Instagram, I was scrolling, and I wanted to find some friends to hang out with and play golf. I had my brother-in-law, and my brother wasn't playing at the time. So I'm like, I need to find some people to play. And then that's when I found the Random Golf Club Las Vegas. Shout out Brett and JR, because those guys, it was crazy. They were
talk about you guys all the time.
Yeah, those are the men right there. So yeah, shout out Brett. I know he's out there in Arizona, right, doing it. So yeah, it was interesting. So I reached out to them, we connected, and from that point on, it was all love.
That's really cool. When do you start shooting content? Around the same time?
No, it took me about a year. So I started shooting content with my son, right? But before that, I was doing content for work. And we just kept it on our work page. One day, we just decided, hey, let's start doing some golf content on myself, right? Or people in the area, the community. So I was at a random golf club event, and I asked some of the people, hey, I bought this camera, I got this mic. You guys cool if I record you or ask you a couple questions? They're like, yeah, sure, whatever. And I did it, and from that point on, I didn't stop.
Yeah, you were one of the ones that gave me so many ideas, and JR and all of these guys that are really, really fun. Well, let's talk a little bit about which one do you start first, because I know that it ends up bringing you to Jimmy Tropicana and Kevin Nahani and those guys, but even before that, I think, were you already working community access lending, which we should shout out?
Yeah, shout out Josh, Community Access Lending, the whole team out there. It's a mortgage brokerage that I work for. I do business development for them. One thing we did is we just decided to start shooting, right? Recording whatever we can to kind of get the community together. And that's why he named it Community Access Lending. Josh is huge on community. So we started doing community events. We would do like, I'm drawing a blank here. It was like some organizations for the homeless youth and stuff like that. We'd go out and give them food or, I forget the name. But anyways, so we started doing that. He started a bowling thing. He has people come together for bowling.
He's a hell of a bowler, right?
He's a hell of a bowler. So
I've seen a couple of those videos.
he's good. But we just wanted to get out there and do something a little different. So I said, hey, you mind if I sprinkle in a little golf? So we did that, and here we are today. So
that is awesome.
Yeah.
And you jumped right into the scene. Tell me about how you met Kevin, I guess, is probably where that started.
Kevin Nahani?
Yes.
Wow. So let's see. This was, I want to say, around March
of this year.
It's crazy. People think we've known each other for years, but no.
It happened fast.
So long story short, Jimmy Tropicana reached out to me and said, hey, I like what you're doing. Would you be willing to help us out in Vegas? I said, absolutely. What do I got to do? So he came out about a month later. We met, and he introduced me to Kevin. We played at Prim, and it's crazy. That's where that video went viral.
So you were in the McAllen 12 round.
I was there. If you look at the video, I'm sitting there chuckling like crazy. So yeah, that's me.
We've talked about that video, and Kevin will end up being on the show. Yeah, that video virally did crazy numbers.
Yeah.
So the idea was Jimmy's
to
start Las Vegas.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, he had reached out to me, and I'm like, oh dang, what's this, right? So for the last couple of years, I've been tagging him on posts because I respected the man. I love what he did, and their product is something beautiful, right? So I was just like, this is cool. They got a really solid group of guys out there in SoCal. I'm like, we have a crew out here, Vegas guys, and it'd be something that happens, right? And it came, and here we are today. We're running real strong. So
yeah, are you already 30 or 40 members deep?
Yeah, we're about 40 members deep right now. Yep.
That's cool.
Yep.
And you reached out to not only Random Golf Club guys. I know some of them are involved,
Yep.
but tell me about how you met all of the different guys.
Oh,
Gage and I know there's a bunch of guys.
So I'll start at the top. I'll start at the beginning, man. The first guy I really met that showed us love showed me and my brother love, my son, was obviously Brett, JR, and John Reyes.
Yeah, John.
Shout out John. I haven't seen you in a while, but what's up, buddy? So so they were one of the three that we first started connecting with. At that point, I met Mateo, right? Mateo Gomez.
Yes, Magnificent Golf Life.
You know what's crazy about Matt is I always give him a shout out because he's one of the OGs out here. So when I was living in California, Mateo Gomez had his Instagram page. And he was the only one out in Vegas pushing Vegas golf content. I'm talking 2017-ish. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. So I followed him on Instagram, and here we are today. I moved out here, and we connected, and we're homies. So,
yeah, I know. Yeah. And he does a lot of great content.
Yeah,
I've mentioned to you, Mateo, that we want you on, so let's push for that and get that going. One of the pieces I did with you was with Jose Garcia.
Yep, Jose Garcia, realtor.
And he explained to me that you actually introduced him to the game.
Yeah. I mean,
how'd that happen?
So one of the things I do, obviously, for agents, real estate agents, to build business and kind of get them going, and as far as kind of let them know who we are, I like to take them golfing. Golf is something where you can just be yourself. Yeah, it's 4 or 5 hours, but sometimes I say, hey, let's go hit some balls, or let's go to the indoor range, something to kind of get to know each other,
Yep.
right? And once he started, I mean, I think the bug hit him. And within 2 weeks of him getting into golf, it's funny because Chris, he sent me some links. Chris, what do you think of these clubs? What do you think of these shoes? I'm like, bro, just get it all. Just get it all.
Just get
Get
it
it
all.
all. And then once you get your game in, now he's got a full set. He's got a great golf bag. He's got like this old Reflection. Is it Reflection Bay? It's a funky old, like, it's like a Cadillac of bags, right? But it's so cool. And I said, just keep it. It's very vintage. It's classic. So keep it. And now he's hooked. So
That is so fun.
yeah.
What age did you start your son in on golf? Because he's still a little guy.
Yeah. So my son is 4. Since he was walking, right? I got him his play school set, the little blue clubs, and
you built a little putting green.
I got
in
the putting green in the backyard for him, and he loves it. And I took him to the range last week with some of the chop guys, and it was fun. He had a really good time.
That's a good time.
Yep.
I love that. What made you put was it your son that made you put the putting green in the backyard, or was that half or more for you?
No, it was for both of us, right? So I've always wanted one. My dream, living in California, I was like, I got to get a house. The first thing I'm gonna do is I got to get a putting green. And luckily, thanks to COVID, I found this company. And they were struggling. And they're like, "Hey, we'll hook you up if you sign right now.
Help promote us.
We'll let us go. No, we'll put this in. I'll get you something out there in 2 days." And they were done real fast. It didn't take 2 days, but they did
That's
a hell
fun.
of a job.
You
Yeah.
mentioned earlier that your wife bought you your first set of clubs. So let's shout out the class of the organization in the Torres household.
Yeah, shout out Hot Cheeto.
Yeah. That's all I know her as.
Yeah, good old Hot Cheeto. Yeah, she bought me that X Hot set. I think it came out in 2012. And it's when they started the whole strong lofting of the clubs, right?
Right.
They were cool clubs, but I still
Is that
got them.
still what you're playing? Or
No.
you just got them
I
in-
upgraded. I'm playing Titleist right now. So
Oh, cool.
yeah. So
Yeah, love that. Are you a Titleist all the way through? Do you have different drivers that you play? And what kind of putter are you using? Since you actually putt a different way than you play.
I got the old Scotty. I got the old Newport. I obviously right-handed. I have a Callaway driver. It's the Epic, and everything else is pretty much Titleist.
Cool.
Yep.
How do you consume golf? Do you watch a lot of golf?
I watch a lot of golf. I try to stay away from the YouTube golf. Simply because, everyone has an opinion, right? I just like to watch. So if I go on YouTube, I'll put on like old school stuff, right? I'll watch old videos of old golfers, Ben Hogan, Lee Trevino, Seve Ballesteros, one of my favorites, right?
Yep. Jimmy and my father brought up old golf videos and movies, and my dad loved Seve and Jimmy loved Lee Trevino, and
Yeah.
I grew up on all those guys.
Yeah, I got the
that
Lee
was-
hat.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
so cool.
Yep.
Trevino is one of my absolute faves. What a character.
He was a character, man, and he had just this gait about him that the way he spoke, the way he was so confident, and he was a hell of a golfer.
Yeah.
So, but personality was everything to me.
So is he still your favorite?
Is Lee Trevino my favorite golfer? I don't have a specific favorite golfer. I have a group of golfers that I consider my favorite, my core, right? The ones that I look up to as far as the way they dressed, the way they talked, the way they played. He's definitely one of them. So.
Yeah. Tell me some of the things about golf that you might change after being introduced to it 25 years ago,
Yeah.
starting almost 15 years ago, getting serious about 5 years ago. Now you're hip deep in it as you're one of the golfers in town. Is there anything that you would change about it or anything you don't like about the game?
If I would change anything about it, I don't know. That's a really good question. COVID really made things a little funky for the golf community, right? The tee times are hard to get. Rates are through the roof.
Yep.
And I feel like people need to go out and play golf. Book your tee times and play golf and have fun. Don't do it for anything else, right? Don't do it for, I don't know, just go out there, have a good time, play golf, right? I consider myself a purist, right? So I'm big on etiquette. That's one thing. But if I was to change something, I don't know. I don't know. I can't think of it right now.
That's cool. I
Yeah.
love that answer.
Yeah.
Right now, what is your favorite thing about golf? What do you love about golf?
My favorite thing about golf is you can get to know somebody. You get to know who they really are, right? So you can be the coolest guy at the bar, or you meet somebody at work, they're good, but when you get on the golf course, you get to see the rage, or you get to see who they really are. If you just hey, I missed that putt, whatever, let's keep playing, have a good time. So you get to know who somebody really is on the golf course, 100%.
Right. That's a great answer. Tell us about Monday Mayhem, the group that we have out here on the last Monday night of every month.
Yep.
Who came up with that idea, and tell us about what you guys are doing out here once a month.
Yeah, so Tropicana has Monday Mayhem, right? Every last Monday of the month, we do a skins game. We play the Cloud9 twice. We call it, 18 holes. And what we do is we get everybody from the club to come out, play, do a little skins match. And that's actually a product that they've had out there in LA forever. So they just brought it out here, and it's blowing up. We're doing great.
Great group of guys.
Yep, solid cats.
Some guys, Dave McMahon is one of them that I've known since high school.
Shout out Dave.
And shout out Dave. And he started coming out for those. And I didn't know I knew he played golf, but I didn't know he loved it as much as he does, and that he followed Tropicana for a long time. Tell me about some other guys. I don't know how long you'd met Dave, but tell me about a guy or two that you just met because Tropicana came to town and you came.
So Dave being one of them, right? He was a huge fan.
So he just reached out to you.
No, I actually met him through work. So I work with his wife. She's
Sarah.
Hey Sarah. So she's in the title space. I'm in the lending space. So obviously we all commingle, and that's how we met. He was at an event, and I think he saw my hat. No, he saw my blue blockers, and he mentioned my blue blockers. I'm like, okay, this guy knows what's up. So we connected from that, and at that point, I told him, hey, we got this club. And he's like, dude, I'm in. So from that point on, he joined. As far as people that I've just recently met through the club that are great through Tropicana, oh, man, there's a lot. There's so many of them. So John Barry being one of them. He's a local out here. Oh my gosh, what's his name? I'm losing names here, but
that's all right. I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No, you're fine.
But it's fun.
So many.
When they came out a couple of weeks ago, I was so excited to meet a lot of them. Slim to Chef, Gabagool. All these guys are just such characters, and they're so fun. And I'm excited for where that's going for the Las Vegas chapter. And they just opened a Florida chapter.
Central Florida, yeah.
Yeah, it's starting to grow, and I see all sorts of content that they're pumping out now.
Zach Weber, flyest guy on the golf course. That guy looks amazing.
Shout out Zach.
He's running Central Florida, and he's killing it.
Good times. Where do you see Tropicana going? Do you think that you guys can grow it into something? Probably not as big as the OG club, but
right.
But where do you see it going a year from now? Do you have goals? Do you have interests?
Obviously, we want to triple what we have, right? So I think it's catching steam right now. It really is, and we're seeing people reach out, ask questions about it. Hey, what's this about? Look, man, have fun. Just go out there, meet people. I mean, yes, it's competitive golf, but in a fun sense, right? You guys are having fun. You're getting to know each other. A lot of talking. That's the best, right? So it's just a good way to meet people. I think in the next year we'll have 100+ members for sure, easily.
That's cool, and I'm glad we're part of the introduction to that. We definitely want to help as much as we can, and also be partners with you guys.
Absolutely,
which is neat. So back to practice regimens.
Okay.
Do you have anything now where you go out when you hit balls that you're working on? Do you have things that you're thinking about? Or again, are you just so dialed into the fact that you don't necessarily need to chase a number that you're not working on your game very much? Or
Yeah, no, I definitely go out and practice my wedges, right? I have the yips right now with my wedges, and it's bad. So it's always something, right? If it ain't the wedges, it's the irons.
When that fades and you figure that out, something else will happen. That's the game.
My driver has been my nemesis for 15 years, so I've grown to love and hate the thing, but, it is what it is. So right now I'm working on my wedge game. But no, when I go out there, I do the old school thing, right? I'll do like 4 wedge shots, 9-iron, 8-iron. I'll do it 4 times in a row. And then what I'll do is I'll put myself in a hole, right? I'll say, okay, here's, the first hole at Palm. What am I going to do here? So that's how I practice. I put myself in the course, and like I am playing next week at Desert Pines. So that first hole really gets me every time because it's so short.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I can get it. No, I can't. So what I do is I put myself in that hole and I just practice the strokes. Right.
Desert Pines, recently a sister course of ours. So that's
Really?
a fun shout out. Yeah, when we were bought by Arcus last month, that brought into the fold. They don't own these golf courses in town. They own us, and they operate the others. But Desert Pines, Las Vegas Golf Club, which is the Muni over on Decatur in Washington, and Painted Desert are all sister courses of ours. Painted Desert is back within contact with Angel Park for the second time. We used to be sister courses with them 8, 9, 10 years ago. So that's fun. And that brings me to, you are a Las Vegas golf course connoisseur. We like to think that through the golf community and the digital content that we are taking a lot of these guys that play all over town and hopefully generating 1 or 2 more rounds a month at Angel Park.
Right.
And that's working, and that's exciting for us. But tell me about some of your favorites. You don't have to call them out, but maybe 1 or 2 of the things about courses you don't like in town without naming them. Tell us about Vegas golf because you're well versed in it.
So Vegas golf by far is my favorite, right? Even when I was living in Southern California, I love California courses, but there's something about Vegas golf that just draws you in, right? I have a lot. I can't name which ones are my favorites, but there's a few. Like here, I love the Palm course, and I just played it for the first time a month ago.
Wow!
Every time I would play, I'd always play Mountain, right? Palm,
they're much different.
They are very different, and I love Palm. So Palm is one of my favorites. It's a lot of fun. There's some courses downtown that I really enjoy. So I love some of the older courses, and it's funny. I just played Boulder City Muni not too long ago,
which is a really nice golf course.
And it reminds me of like a Southern California golf course with the tree lines and everything like that. So it's kind of a fresh take on what we have here in Vegas with all the desert style golf.
Both Boulder City courses are fun. Tell me a little bit about National. I know that's one that you like. That's an old school golf course. It was called the Sahara for years and years back when I played it in high school. Tell us what you like about National.
So the National is up there for me, right? The people, the clubhouse, the smell of the clubhouse, right? It's got that old school smell.
It's old.
It's very old. Great beer. Great food, cheap beer, great times. It's just very old school.
That brings us to out-of-state travel golf. What are some of your favorite places that you've been outside of Vegas? And maybe it's SoCal, maybe it's other places, but let's shout out some of your favorite golf courses you've ever played.
So my favorite golf course in Southern California is Goose Creek out in Mariloma, California. It's like when you play there, you're not in California because they have bamboo everywhere. It's crazy.
How
yeah,
fun.
It's funky, but definitely Goose Creek being one of my favorites. Whispering Lakes in Ontario, California is my it's where I learned to play.
Yeah, it sounds like it was your home course.
Yeah,
for
it was my home course. It was around the corner from my office. I would always sneak out sometimes to go play there. And those are my 2 favorites.
That's great.
Yep.
Chris, I think that might bring us to the end of the first segment of the show. The second segment you're aware of because you've watched it before. This is our Power 5 of questions where we ask the same 5 questions every week. We've changed question number 5 in the last couple of weeks, again, with Arcus coming in. But we'll get to that in a minute.
Cool.
It's similar. Question number 1. What's your favorite golf movie and why?
Oh, man, that's a good question. So, obviously, growing up, Happy Gilmore being one. So I have 2 favorite golf movies, right? It just depends on what time of the day it is, right? So right now, my favorite, obviously, is Caddyshack. Caddyshack being something that I could put on all day. I'll put it on for the kid, except for the weird parts. I got to fast forward it. But Caddyshack, and it's between Caddyshack and Happy Gilmore, 100%.
Those are our classic answers and generational answers.
Right.
Caddyshack is so many people that are above a certain age favorite, and Happy Gilmore blows everything away. It took us a while to get Happy Gilmore, and I think Ben said on an episode a couple weeks ago that he wanted to say Happy Gilmore because no one had said it. But
No one said it.
Well, no, he had only watched the first month and a half of episodes, and then in the last month and a half, most people have said it. So it's fun, just the progression of the guests and the way these answers change, but they're always interesting that they're different.
It's definitely Caddyshack, and here's the reason why. Caddyshack to me is the only movie in golf that shows you every personality on the golf course.
It's fun that way, right?
Right. So it shows you the guy that's good but doesn't care about his game. You know, Ty Webb, he's great, but I don't keep score. That's the kind of guy I like, right? Then you got the judge who's a prick,
right?
Right, who's not that good, but he says he's amazing. You know, he improves his life.
The old country club.
There you
member.
go.
Yep.
Right, and then you have the caddy, the kid that's trying to just come up, make it. He's a great golfer,
and he can play. You got Carl Spackler.
Oh, there you go. Oh my gosh, yeah. So I forgot about him.
There are plenty of Carl Spacklers in golf, and that is he's my favorite for that reason.
Then you got Cervic.
And then you got
you got Cervic, the guy who's loud. He dresses real loud. He's obnoxious, but he has a great time.
Yeah,
right.
He has the best time.
Yeah. So it shows that movie shows you every kind of golfer out there today. I mean, that's who it is.
I've never heard it summed up that way, but that's cool. That's a cool way to talk about Caddyshack. Question number 2, shot number 2. What's your favorite club in your bag right now, and why?
Oh man, favorite club is my 7-iron. Why? Because it's the club that you can hit. Right? Anybody can hit the 7-iron. I mean, if you want to go long, you want to get out of the rough, you can use it as a wedge if you needed to. That's my go-to because I end up in the rough a lot.
7-iron is mine. It's the one that I thought we'd get the most, and we've only gotten it a small handful of times. It's the one that 10 Cup, when he breaks every club in his bag,
except
he just
for 7.
leaves the 7-iron because he's going to par out on the back 9 with just a 7-iron. 7-iron is the classic answer. It's the club that most people, when they're trying to learn the game and get the ball in the air and hit good shots, it's the easiest club to hit.
It is definitely the easiest, and it's weird because you pick up that 7, and there's confidence already on it, right? Obviously, watching that movie with Tin Cup where he talks about it, it's true, right? It's just the club that it's just at the middle of the road, and you could do anything with it. So definitely the 7.
Rarely fails you.
It rarely fails me.
Question number 3, my favorite question. Dream foursome. So you get 3 people to go play a dream round of golf with. Alive or dead, golfers, non-golfers. Who are you picking, and then where would you go play golf?
Oh, man. So I can go cliche and pick my family, right? I mean, there's
I gave my dad an out on the family, so
okay.
It's not cliche. We've gotten a lot of family. That's a way to go.
Yeah.
And it's your dream foursome. So if that's what it is, that's what it is. If you need a pass because you'd like to name something if you weren't going to go play with your family, then
all right.
do that.
So let's do this. If I was to go strictly on just to have a crazy time and have fun, my 3 golfers, wow. Okay, so Lee Trevino, Leslie Nielsen, okay, and Charlie Murphy.
Charlie Murphy is such a good answer.
Yeah, so I think it'd be those guys because it'd be a crazy time because you got the skill of Trevino, right? You got Charlie Murphy in the background
telling stories all day,
right? And then you got the GOAT, Leslie Nielsen, right?
With just built-in natural humor.
He's just the guy, right?
Off the cuff.
And people don't realize that Leslie Nielsen, so many people have emulated what he's done. He's the guy that started all that crazy stuff, right?
Yeah.
So he's the guy.
Yeah, he was the original.
Think about it.
Yeah. Yep. Naked Gun, all of it. He was doing it from the early years. Great answer. Where are you going to play?
Oh, man. Definitely Palm Springs.
Great golf.
I don't know where. Somewhere in Palm Springs. Somewhere where we would have a good time, drink, and just have a ball.
So you just want to go to the destination.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep,
have you ever played in Palm Springs?
Oh, yeah, many times. Is it Indian Springs?
Indian Wells.
Indian Wells Country Club.
Yep.
I used to play there a lot with my old boss. So
the 80s and probably into the 90s, they had the skins game, which doesn't exist anymore. I guess they turned the match into it, kind of. But a couple of the best golfers in the world would just go play a skins game all day.
Oh,
and,
wow.
yeah, and those are fun. I'm guessing you could find those on YouTube. I'll have to look it up. But the old Skins games out there were really, really fun.
Yeah, you could definitely find that on YouTube.
Question number 4.
What do you got?
What's your aiming fluid? So what are you drinking most often when you're out playing on the golf course?
So it depends on the weather. If it's cold, a Bloody Mary in the morning all day long, right? I got to have that, right? It's extra spicy for me. I haven't found a good one out here.
No?
I need to find a good Bloody Mary in Vegas.
We didn't. You passed on one this morning. We've had a few guests have one of Peggy's Bloody Marys here at the golf course, and I think I will make sure that you have one of Peggy's Bloody Marys.
I will definitely love to try one of
because
those.
I think you'll find one that you love. So that's fun. What if the weather is not cold?
Well, for Vegas weather for today, my go-to all day long is the Fine Pilsner of America Miller Lite. So that's my thing.
Miller Lite.
I'm a Miller Lite guy.
Also had great golf commercials back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again, dating myself, but Miller Lite in the 80s had the best golf commercials and sports commercials. They kind of had the sports market tapped.
Miller Lite commercials in the 80s and 90s were amazing for golf, right?
Yeah,
They were edgy, and they couldn't air them today.
Right. No.
Yeah, you could not air those today.
That's also true. Question number 5, our last question. And we're going to keep it PG rated. But I'm curious because it's come up lately on the last question of the show. Are you a club thrower? Are you a club snapper? Have you ever done it? Were you embarrassed after you did it? Or is it something you continue to do?
Okay. I have never thrown or broken a club, right?
Admirable.
I've smacked myself with a club, right, on the leg. I'm like, I've done that
on
number.
purpose?
Yeah,
like hit yourself.
So one time, and I'll tell you why I don't do it. I missed a putt, and I did this number here, right? But I didn't tend to do it, and I smacked my ankle, and I fell down. Yeah, so
you could hurt yourself.
Yeah. So I don't break or snap. It is what it is, man. If you play crap, enjoy it. So no, I have not broken or thrown a club.
I love that.
Yeah.
What's your reaction when someone does?
A lot of judgment. A lot of judgment. No, I mean, I've seen it. I've seen people throw clubs. I've seen someone hack a green. I've seen someone break a club.
Hacking a green is the worst.
So it's just, come on, guys.
I think you have to turn somebody in for that. That's just the worst.
So just go out, man. A lot of these people take their time to make these greens look amazing. Don't f it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry. PG. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Yeah.
I'm getting better at editing.
Yeah.
So that won't be said.
No, don't throw clubs. Don't break clubs because you paid for them. What are you doing?
What a great lesson. Yeah. And that's the end of the show. Thank you so much for watching. Chris, thanks for coming on, man.
Oh, man. This is great. And if I could, man, I just wanted to give you a shout out because you're the guy that everybody's connecting with. You take the time out of your day to come out here, interview people, and the golf community owes you everything, man. So
thank you.
I just wanted to give him a little.
Thank you very much.
I love it, man. I really
love
do.
to hear that.
Yeah, for sure,
I
man.
appreciate that. That is what we're trying to do. And again, I've mentioned it in the past. If you're watching these and you haven't been on, you're on deck. Reach out to me. Let's tell your golf story because that's what this is all about. And it's going to keep growing and it's going to get more fun.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm excited about it.
Love it.
Yeah, so Random Golf Club, Tropicana Golf Club and Barbershop. Check them out, especially if you don't know these guys. It's a great time and a lot of fun to get into the game. And
yeah,
that's it, my guy. Until next time, hit them straight.
Later, guys.
Friends
Appreciate
at Angel
that.
Park. Cheers.
Cheers. That was great, bro.
Good times.
That was great.